जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe. Radha Madan Mohan. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Sudarshana. Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की श्रील प्रभुपाद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुः उन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। You're seeing the verse there? ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Welcome all of you for the Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning. We are reading from the first canto, first chapter, text number 10. It's in prose order, isn't it? We'll try to recite. Bhagavanapi Bharata Tat Upanītārhaṇah Suktavākenātitaram Udita Gunaganavatara Sujayah Priyavratam Adipurushastam Sadayah Savaloka iti hovacha Bhagavanapi Bharata tat upanītārhaṇah suktavākenātitaram Udita Gunaganavatara Sujayah Priyavratam Adipurushastam Sadayah Savaloka iti hovacha Bharata tat upanītārhaṇah suktavākenātitaram Budita gunaganavatara sujayah priyavratam adipurushastam sadayah savaloka iti hovacha. All Prabhuji together. Bhagavanapi Bharata tat upanītārhaṇah suktavākenātitaram Budita gunaganavatara sujayah priyavratam adipurushastam sadayah savaloka iti hovacha. So in one breath you completed. Mataji, you want to try? My Lord, amazing. Because we are in South India. Devotees know to pronounce slokas very nicely. Mataji's, Prabhuji's both recited well. Okay. Bhagavan, Lord Brahma, Api, moreover, Bharata, O King Parikshit, Tat, by them, Upanita, brought forward, Arhanaha, worshipable paraphernalia, Sukta, according to Vedic etiquette, Vakena, by language, Atitaram, highly, Udita, praised, Gunagana, qualities, Avatara, because of the descent, Sujayaha, whose glories, Priyavratam, unto Priyavrata, Adi Purushaha, the original person, Tam, unto him, Sadaya, with compassion, Hasa, smiling, Avalokaha, who is looking, Iti, thus, Ha, certainly, Uvacha, said. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. My dear King Parikshit, because Lord Brahma had finally descended from Satyaloka to Bhuloka, Narada Muni, Prince Priyavrata, and Swayambhuva Manu came forward to offer him objects of worship and to praise him in highly qualified language, according to Vedic etiquette. At that time, Lord Brahma, the original person of this universe, felt compassion for Priyavrata and looking upon him with a smiling face, spoke to him as follows. So there are two parts in this translation. You can see this. So you can recite this after me, please. My dear King Parikshit, because Lord Brahma had finally descended from Satyaloka to Bhuloka, Narada Muni, Prince Priyavrat and Swayambhuva Manu came forward to offer him objects of worship and to praise him in highly qualified language, according to Vedic etiquette. So this is what they did. And what did Brahma do? At that time, Lord Brahma, the original person of this universe, felt compassion for Priyavrata and looking upon him with a smiling face, spoke to him as follows. Purport. That Lord Brahma descended from Satyaloka to see Priyavrata indicates that the matter was very serious. Narada Muni had come to advise Priyavrata about the value of spiritual life, knowledge, renunciation and bhakti. And Lord Brahma knew that Narada's instructions are very impressive. Therefore, unless Lord Brahma personally went to Gandhamadana hill to request Priyavrata, Lord Brahma knew that Prince Priyavrata would not accept his father's order. Brahma's purpose was to break Priyavrata's determination. Therefore, Brahma first looked upon Priyavrata with compassion. His smile and compassionate features also indicated that although Brahma would request Priyavrata to accept household life, Priyavrata would not be out of touch with devotional service. By the blessings of a Vaishnava, everything is possible. This is described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as Kripa Siddhi, or perfection attained simply by the blessings of a superior person. One usually becomes liberated and perfect by executing the regulative principles set down in the Shastras. Nonetheless, many persons have achieved perfection simply by the blessings of a spiritual master or superior. Priyavrat was the grandson of Lord Brahma, and as joking competition sometimes takes place between grandson and grandfather, in this case also Priyavrata was determined to remain in meditation, whereas Brahma was determined that he ruled the universe. Thus, Lord Brahma's affectionate smile and glance meant, "My dear Priyavrata, you have decided not to accept household life, but I have decided to convince you that you must accept it." Actually, Brahma had come to praise Priyavrata for his high standard of renunciation, austerity, penance, and devotion, so that he would not be deviated from devotional service, even though he would accept household life. In this verse, one important word is Suktavakena by Vedic hymns. In Vedas, there is a following prayer to Lord Brahma: Hiranyagarbha Samavar Tatagre Bhutasya Jata Patireka Asit. Brahma was received with the appropriate Vedic hymns, and because he was welcomed according to the Vedic etiquette, he was very pleased. Hare Krishna. So, you all may probably know the context. I will tell the context quickly. Uh, King Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa, husband and wife, they are the first created living beings. Lord Brahma was trying to expand the population, uh, but at that time the expanding population was done in a different way. Like Brahma from his thumb created Daksha, from his ear created Pulastya, from the eyes created Atri, from his shadow created Kardama, like the 10 sons. So Brahma was thinking, if I alone have to populate the universe, it will be difficult. I need help of various sons to do that. But then uh, Lord gave a new method of expanding the population without Brahma having to take the trouble. What is it? The Lord created one male figure and female figure. The male figure had a mustache and the female figure had a swollen breast. And woman means one who comes from the left side of man. So Lord created these two entities, one male and a female. And Brahma saw that how these two entities came, even he could not even imagine. Because Lord created, like that they came in front of him. And they united and they produced 5 children. The first one is like Uttanapat, then second son is Priyavrat, then Devhuti, Akuti, Prasuti. 3 girls and 2 boys. Totally 5 children. So, and now from them the further world population will expand. So in this way, Lord made an arrangement where, a female machine and a male machine, if you make, they keep on multiplying more and more. Like you can see a male dog and a female dog, a male cat and a female cat. And the population can go on. And Brahma also kept a pleasure coating when a male female contact each other. So one wants to experience that pleasure when meeting with the opposite mate. But that pleasure is compensated by the raising of the child. When a man and woman come together and beget a child, then the raising of the child from the childhood up to the age of probably 15 or 20, they have to take a lot of headache, trouble. Both mother and father have to take. But if a man and woman come together without a religious sacred tie, and they just unite and abort the child, then they will also be aborted in the next life. Hmm. Or they will be slaughtered in a slaughterhouse or something like that. So one is not allowed legally or shastrically to do that. So therefore, Brahma was very happy that now the population can go on because the system of marriage between male and female is instituted uh, by the Lord himself. So the first son, Uttanapad, he got married and then he begot Dhruva, and then Dhruva's descendants were continuing, uh, taking care of the kingdom. And the father was getting older. Who? Swayambhumanu. So he went to forest to take Vanaprastha. At that time, the Uttanapad's lineage gradually experienced a dead end. There was no one to continue the lineage now. Because sometimes it may so happen that there is no son. Only daughters are there. The Vamsh cannot continue now. So at that time, the responsibility again came back to whom? Came back to whom? Swayambhumanu, father. Then naturally the father wanted to make the second son the king. Who is it? Priyavrat. Because other three are daughters. But then Priyavrat had left the palace, gone to the Gandhamadana Parvat, where he met the great sage Narada, who taught him about detachment, about austerities, penances, devotion to Krishna. And he joined the program training under Narada. And he became more and more purified. The more he got purified, the more he experienced spiritual bliss. And then he thought, what is the need for, going to the next order, Grihastha. Just remain a celibate and then in this way spend your whole life till the last breath and go back home, back to Godhead. That was his plan. Whose plan? Priyavrat. So and the life was going on peacefully in the Gandhamadana Parvat for Narada and Priyavrat. There was no one to obstruct that life. But now there was a sudden requirement. The throne was empty. There was no one to lead the world. Like Samik Rishi was telling Shringi, you will read in the later chapters in the first canto, you will read in the 17, 18, 19 chapters, you will read. When Samik Rishi's son, Shringi, had cursed Parikshit to die, at that time, Samik Rishi tells the son, oh, my foolish boy, what have you done? If a king is not sitting on the throne and ruling the world, all the praja will become like sheep, which will be attacked by tigers or lions. Without a master, they will become easy victims of rogues and thieves who may loot their property and molest their wives. And in this way, there will be anarchy without the king. And not only that, he said the general mass of people will become geared towards sense gratification. They will watch cinemas, and they will play gambling, they will do illicit connections, they will take to intoxication. The whole world will become submerged in sinful activities because there is no king to institute the proper dharma. And people will also become excessively greedy and start looting each other's property, and there will be quarrel, there will be conflicts, there will be misunderstandings. So he said to his son, you have done a very great injustice. The king was a pure devotee, Parikshit, and you caused him to die in 7 days. You have done a very great disservice, not just to him. He is like a big Vatavriksha, like a big banyan tree which is offering shelter to so many birds and ants and so many passers-by and everybody. It's like cutting down such a tree. You have done a very great disservice. So from that point, you can understand this point. How if there is no king sitting on the throne, there is no leader to discipline the people in the world without purposes, without being disciplined, without being self-controlled, without being obedient. No one can please the spiritual master. And without pleasing spiritual master, no one can go back home, back to Godhead. Prabhupada writes that. So people in general, they need two very important things. One is their psychophysical nature should be engaged in varna and ashrama. Varna, suitable job should be there from which they can make money. And then the livelihood is earned, they can maintain wife, children, family, father, mother, father. So the family becomes peaceful. And when they are sitting on a peaceful platform, then they can take the spiritual life seriously. And nowadays with the AI invasion, there is a very big dearth of jobs now. Now one new development they do in AI, 20,000 jobs, 50,000 jobs, 1 lakh jobs are, going away. So this is a very great threat for the future of the world, because when people become jobless and somehow they have to get the money to maintain their wife, children, family and everything. So when they don't get money, then they will adopt some cheating means, or looting. Looting will increase. So therefore it's the king's duty to make sure that every member of the society has meaningful employment. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Brahmanas are studying Shastras and preaching. Kshatriyas are ruling and organizing, protecting, and everything. And the Vaishyas are generating economy and giving charity to Brahmins, and then tax to the Kshatriyas, and protecting Shudras by giving them food, clothing, shelter, and everything. So the king is required to institute that in the society. And also another thing the king has to institute is the spiritual progress for all the living beings. For that, establishing temples, conducting sacrifices, celebrating utsavams, and bringing all the people to the temple, and then organizing preaching programs and satsangas. And then sadhu sangha, by that people's hearts will become purified, they'll become peaceful. So material welfare, spiritual welfare, both should go hand in hand. That's the duty of the king. And without such a king sitting on the throne, the whole world will be like a boat without a captain. It will be, imagine a boat in the middle of Atlantic without a captain who is steering it. What will happen? It will go astray, or it will undergo some shipwreck or something. So there is a need for a very good leader everywhere. So that is why now Swayambhu thought, I am already old. I am supposed to retire now. At this time of my retirement, the whole burden of the worldly kingdom has come on me. So now how will I do it? So then he went to his second son, Priyavrata, in Gandhamadana Parvata, and said, my dear son, I respect your renunciation and your enthusiasm for going back to Godhead, but now some duty is calling you now. Please come back to palace, get married, maintain the world, so that, and you relieve me, so that I can go and practice spiritual life. So it's a very amazing pastime it is, because father and son both are competing to become renounced. Generally, in this world, you find, isn't it? Very amazing thing. Like one time in one of the ISKCON temples, one boy joined full time. So his father came. The father was 62 or 63. So this boy, already he felt he is late in joining. By the time he joined, it was 30, 31. Boy also was late. So he wanted to join. He earned practically 20, 30 lakhs and gave parents, settled his sister's marriage, everything. Very responsible boy. Did everything. At the age of 30, he wanted to join. Now the father is 62, 63 now. He's retired now. He's at home only. He came to the temple and said, how can you take my son? I want him to, go abroad and make more money and, build a very big house. Now that I am retired, I am only getting pension. I thought he will bring a lot of money. So then the devotee said, if he wants to go, he can go. We don't mind. But the boy didn't want to go. He wanted to stay. So then he said, if he stays in the temple, then who will take care of the house? Who will take care of his mother and father? He said. Then the devotee said, okay, you are 62, you come in. He can go back. Because he is young, let him take care of the business and family and everything. You can be here. Father was shocked. He said, that I have to think more. I'll think and come back, and he never came back. He went away after that. So here, the father is competing to continue the material world. And the son wants to renounce, but he wants to pull him also into material world. Isn't it? He feels that I will continue my material life, my son can also continue material life, and none of us have to do spiritual life. Like that he's thinking. Father. So, whereas here you find, the father says that, my dear son, You are already very nicely trained and learned. If you become a king of the world, you will not fall down. You will not become entangled in this world. You take the responsibility and you are a devotee. Devotee will be protected. No. And then you relieve me so that I can do my spiritual duties. And his request was reasonable. Who? Swami Brahmana's request was reasonable. But then, being Swami Brahmana being his father, you know, so Priyavrat very politely refused. Respectfully and politely, he refused and said, "No, no, father, I am not interested in taking a worldly kingdom." Now, it's very amazing because imagine if somebody calls you and tells you, "I want to make you a temple president of some project." Many people will be all out for it. We will go running. Thank you for the post. You may take a visit. But why son is refusing? There is a reason. Later on, there is one word used. I'll just check whether I can get that. There is one section will come now. One of the verses it will come. Vishama Vishaya Jalashaya. I'll just check it. I got it. Yeah. So this verse number is, this is 5137. 5137, he says, yeah. Aho asadu anushtitam jad abhiniveshitoham indriyair avidya rachita vishama vishaya andakupi. No, no, no. There is one more word I'm thinking. There is one more. Okay. This verse is 5122. Yeah, 5122. Manurapi parenaivam pratisandhita manoratah suras surarishi varanumatenatmajam akiladhara mandala sthiti guktaya asthapya swayam. Then comes the word ati vishama vishaya visha jalashaya shaya upararama. The last line means, see what he is saying here. Surarishi vara anumaten atmajam. Atmajam is son. Surarishi is Narada. So Narada allowed Priyavrata to go and get married and then become a king. So Anumatena Atmajam Akila Dhara Mandala means the entire world. That is Akila Dhara Mandala. Sthiti Guptaya Asthapya. So he posted his son to take over the kingship of the world. And then what he did? Swayam. What he did? Ati Vishama Vishaya Visha Jalashaya Shaya Upararama, it is said. Which means the meaning of that is said, if you see, Ati Vishama means very dangerous. Vishaya means material affairs. Visha means poison. Jala Ashaya, ocean. Ashayaha, from desires. Upararama means he got relief. That is saying. You see, dealing with land, dealing with money, dealing with women, dealing with gold. These things are very delicate matter, and there is always a danger that one can become attached to them. One can get distracted from spiritual life, and one can develop enmity, envy, belligerence, anger, pride. All these things can come. These items cannot be criticized. You cannot criticize gold or land or money or women. You cannot criticize because these items are passive items. It is the man who develops attachment to them. For example, when Satrajit developed attachment to Shamanaka jewel and the whole pastime, you see, 4 or 5 people were killed in their pastime because of attachment to gold. You can see that. One Pururava developed attachment to Urvashi. So much mishap happened in that pastime. You see that. How much he suffered very badly. Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra, they both were attached to land and the whole dynasty was destroyed. You can see that, isn't it? Attachment to land, attachment to gold, attachment to women, attachment to money, all these things. So that is why it says, Ati Vishama, very dangerous. Vishaya, material affairs. Visha, poison, it says. It's like poison, he says. Just as when you eat poison, a person dies. Similarly, when you indulge in these things and become attached to them, your spiritual life dies. Either he says. Jala Ashaya, ocean, Ashayaha, from desires. From the ocean of material desires, Upara Rama, he got relief completely. So he felt happy by that relief. Who? Swayambhamana. But then he got relief, but who got the responsibility? Huh? Yeah, Prevrat got responsibility. He has to take that responsibility. That is why in Vedic times, people were very happy to take the spiritual life and not get too many material responsibilities and attachments. Now, in our movement also, uh, if you are if you are a devotee who is just a preacher, you just go here, there, and you just give lectures, then you can be lovable by all. You know, people see you in the media and everything. People say, "Oh, wonderful devotee," because you don't manage anyone. The moment you become a manager, uh, then many people will start pointing fingers. You will see that, like Brahma, for example, is criticized by the gopis. What did the gopis say? Atatiyad braja agni kananam त्रुटिर्युगायते त्वामपश्यताम् कुटिलतुन्तरं श्रीमुखं च ते जडमुदीक्षतां पक्ष्मकृदृशाम्. So they are saying, when the sun rises in the sky, Krishna goes with his cowherd friends to forest to herd the cows and calves, in the Gochar and Leela. At the time, the gopis are saying, we will not be even able to see Krishna with our eyes. So, but in the evening, he returns back with the setting of the sun, with cows, calves, and covered boys. And at that time, we all are eager to welcome him, see him, and perform arati. But our eyes are always blinking because the Creator, Brahma, who has fashioned our eyes with the eyelid, he is not so well informed. They are saying, just see how foolish it is to create the eyelid, because when eyelids keep closing the eyes, we can't see continuously. So Prabhupada says the gopis are the best devotees, and Brahma is the first manager who is being criticized by the best devotees. Then Prabhupada says, when any other manager is criticized, why take so seriously? Prabhupada says, in this world you manage, because in managing resources means you have to sometimes say no. Like you are asked to manage gulab jamun service. Everybody is supposed to be given only 2 gulab jamuns. Somebody comes second time and says, Prabhu, 2 more? Says, no, limited. And then he looks at you as if you are Yamaraj or something. Why is he so cruel to me? Generally, if I am serving gulab jamun, if somebody comes and asks for 2 more gulab jamuns, I'll generally give them gulab jamun water. And then they'll happily go back. At least he gave syrup to drink. So, anyway, to say no makes you a bad guy, because there is some kind of limit set by the manager. Also, sometimes the living entities are mischievous, often conditioned souls in this world. They cross the Lakshman Rekha drawn to them. No illicit sex, no meat eating, no gambling, no, all these things. When they cross, then the manager has to punish them by depriving them of some privileges, facilities. You will not get the smartphone, you will not get the laptop. So some facilities are deprived, some sanctions are limited. That's how it makes the manager a bad guy. You understand now why the manager becomes a bad guy. Also, a manager is one who is supposed to get the work done from people. Generally, living entities want to play all day. Just be free on their own without anyone supervising them. They don't like to be under the nose of someone. They want to be independent. But then manager is a person who's put to supervise. What is like supervision means his nose is above your head. Super. And vision means he's watching. Hi, who is doing what? Correct. So then when you see that, Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti, Krishna says, Adi means above. Aksha means eyes. Adi Aksha means Krishna's eyes are sun and moon watching the nature. That's the meaning of Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. Suyate Sacharacharam, he says. But Prakriti is very happy. When Krishna glances at Prakriti, she produces everything very happily because Prakriti is Durga, Krishna's sister. Uh, And she is very happy to collaborate and serve the Lord. But because we are not yet purified, when the manager is supervising us, Prabhu, this is the service you have to do. Because manager is a service allottor. The living entity is saying, alas, now my freedom is gone now. I thought I can enjoy today, free day. Half a day he has occupied me with services. This is how the manager becomes a bad guy. You understand how? So the manager has to do all these things. That is why many people want to be a good guy in others' eyes. They say, "Oh, I don't want to take responsibility. I can just, be on my own." So at the same time, very important thing, Prabhupada says, accepting responsibility is very important. If it is given, because management in Krishna's organization like ISKCON is also for the pleasure of Prabhupada and for the pleasure of, the divine couple. So we should not shy away from the responsibilities that come in our life. If it is awarded by Guru, one should not try to escape. One has to accept and try to do. One should be in the mood of a facilitator, or the mood of a servant. And one has to say what you have to say. Every manager has to say what he has to say, but he can say politely in a friendly mood, understanding the situation of the conditioned souls. So in this way, when Priyavrat was asked by Swayambhamanu, he had denied. Now Swayambhamanu went and reported to Brahma. He asked Brahma, see, you are my father. Now my son is not accepting the worldly kingship. So now what am I to do? Should I go for Vanaprastha, just keeping the throne empty? Or will you help me to ask my son to take the responsibility? So Brahma said, okay, I will come. So Swayambhamanu is like a temple president and Brahma is like GBC. Like GBC is coming now. So when Brahma came, he didn't come alone. He came with many, many rishis, many, many devatas, many, many associates. He came in a swan carrier, all of them coming flying from the Satyaloka. They descended here in Gandhavana Parvat. That's a helipad where they are descending. So, and they arrived. Immediately Priyavrat, Narada, and Swayambhamanu, they all observed that a great soul has arrived. Immediately they rushed to go and offer him obeisances, offer him, flowers at his lotus feet, uh, offer him garland, offer him a seat of esteem, respectful seat, and also praised him with very, very wonderful poetry, because Brahma represents the Supreme Lord for them. Like we say, Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastra. So, somebody is in a position of a guru, that person should be respected as if we are respecting the Supreme Lord himself. That kind of respect should be given. Actually, these are all etiquettes you will see in the Vedic time. For example, sometimes you go for a program where the things are very disorderly. For example, things are not clean, things are unclean, something is stinking. Something is stinking because the garbage is not thrown out. So everybody's attention goes to that bad smell which is coming. Or sometimes you find there is there is no seat for the speaker to sit. You just sit on a chair. Actually, the ordinary chair is given to all the people to sit. But why this seat is given? It's not that this is for giving respect to the speaker. This is actually what seat is called as? Vyasasana. Vyasasana is supposed to be different from the normal seats. So somebody in my video in YouTube asked, why Swamiji is sitting on a very, very gorgeously decorated, very big seat. So I didn't reply that, but somebody else replied, this is not Swamiji's seat, this is Vyasadev's seat. So, but in Vyasadev's seat, the Swamiji is allowed to sit because he is going to speak on behalf of Vyasadev. After that, he will get down. Don't worry, he will take the seat with him. Somebody replied very nicely to that. So, this seat is not given just because I want the seat. This seat is actually given for Vedavyas. Why the seat is so nicely decorated with everything? Because people who hear, they understand that the message which is coming from this seat is very Important. It's very weighty. The word guru means weight. It has weight. So now you put a simple chair and tell a person you just sit and speak. That means you are not respecting the person. And also, people also are not going to take his message very seriously. Like when I go to sometimes youth programs, sometimes person they put a chair and put a white dhoti on the top of it. Similarly, here also they put a white dhoti. I said, hey, white dhoti, you should not put here. You should put silk cloth for the Bhagavatam. How many of you have seen Bhagavatam kept on a silken cloth? You have seen that? Yeah. You should go and get Kanchipuram silk, very attractive. It should be shining like gold. And then when you keep Bhagavatam on that, then immediately people understand this is something very respectable. I should bow down to Bhagavatam. Similarly, the seat also you put, if you want to put some cloth, you should not just put a white cloth there. You should put a silken cloth. Again, the same point, silk cloth is not for the person, it is for the Veda Vyas. It's respectable. And so I used to tell the boys that, or sometimes they would just get some, cloth of simple, this is also same kind of thing, but some other gadi cloth. I don't know what is the word gadi. You understand what is gadi cloth? Gadi, like some yellow cloth or some brown cloth or anything like that. It should be a silken cloth when you're offering. So here Brahma is coming. How Brahma is being welcomed? The people are going welcoming, garlanding him, offering him a seat and bowing down to him. And to the degree you welcome a superior person with great reverence, respect, affection, sincerity, and you are very attentive in doing everything. That makes a very big difference. Like for example, sometimes people purchase a garland from the market with all this jarigai and all. You know that jarigai. What do you call it? That silver type of thing. Huh? What do you call that? Huh? Chimki, yeah, chimki. Something shining things and all. Yeah, you get ready-made garlands, correct, no? And that will have that banana, this thing also here. I know that definitely they didn't make it. They got it, correct, no? They just got it. And so, of course, that is also sincerity. At least they got a garland, at least. That's good. But imagine, even if you make a simple garland with your hand, and then you offer it, that is considered million times more valuable. Like this is made by somebody and then offered to Krishna and then we wear it. Yeah. Similarly, you are organizing a program. If some Matajis come together and cook prasad for 50 people or 100 people, it's difficult to cook, not very easy. That involves austerity, which is called as tapasya. If they do that tapasya and feed the people, then the Matajis make tremendous advancement in spiritual life. And the people who eat that prasad, which is coming from, ladies who have worked, devotee ladies who have worked together and cooked, they also make advancement. Of course, one of the easiest things nowadays people do is get a ready-made garland and offer to the speaker, just catering, and call one catering agent, just supply prasad. So then the organizer doesn't do any tapasya. There's no tapasya involved. For garland making, no tapasya. For cooking, no tapasya. And even when the lecture is going on, they are attending to phone calls outside. Why? Because they didn't do tapasya. When you do tapasya, you become purified. When you are purified, your eagerness to hear increases. When your eagerness to hear increases, when you sit down and hear, you become further purified. In this way, you grow. And see, this is the beauty of Vedic life. In Vedic life, all these things are connected. You will see that. One home where I went, so they organized the program, but then both mother, father, and children, none of them were there. Only the house was given. So later on, when my program got over, they came. And the father has gone to take son for karate class. And mother has taken the daughter for Bharatanatyam class. They both went away. They gave the house. So I was telling the organizer, Prabhu, see, they have given the house. You should make a plan for them also to get purification. You should tell the host, if Swamiji is coming to give lecture, you should definitely be at home. Cancel the karate class, cancel the, Bharatanatyam class, sit at home because you are the host. Host should be there. And the host was telling, because they asked my house, I gave the house. Okay, do the upload program, karke chala jao. Do the program and go. The whole Vedic program is one of purification. So because if Mataji is devotee, Prabhuji is not a devotee, Mataji will tell Prabhuji that today Swamiji is coming, you have to be at home at any cost. So the Prabhuji also being at home, sitting and hearing lecture, he'll get purified. That's the whole idea. Whole Vedic program is to get purified by austerities. Here, Brahma is descending. Immediately, everybody is doing the austerity of taking out their time, throwing away everything else to the wind. Go and garland him, welcome him, offer him a seat, praise him for all his services, everything. He is actually the first created living being, Brahma. He is Atmaja. He is a son of the Supreme Lord. He is Padmaja also. He is born in the Padma, correct, no? Lotus from the Supreme Lord's navel. And he also is uh, uh, first disciple of Lord Vishnu, to whom the Lord gave him knowledge. Yeah. And he has 4 heads and his body is made of intelligence. A very great personality. So he's coming. So they all respect him. And now Brahma is going to speak to Priyavrata now. And Brahma is going to tell Priyavrat that, my dear Priyavrat, when you go to the forest, you are not going alone. You are going with your 6 wives, he says. He wonders, who are the 6 wives? Mind and 5 senses. So even when you renounce the world and go to the renounced order, your mind and 5 senses will not be allowing you to peacefully continue. They always agitate you. So therefore, you accept the household order and be the king of the world. I have detected in you, you have a Kshatriya mentality. You are born in a Kshatriya family. You have Kshatriya mentality and you have the ability to lead the world, rule the world, and there is absolute requirement for ruling the world. And in the event of no ruler in the top, the world is going to be misled. So keeping this great service in mind, kindly accept this service which is coming to you. And Brahmaji compassionately looked at him. The compassion means, I, your great grandfather, which means his father is, I mean, of course, he's not great grandfather, he's grandfather, because his father is Swayambhava Manu. And for Dhruva, he is great grandfather, for Dhruva. For him, for Priyavrat, his father's father. Brahma is father's father. So he said, I am your grandfather. I am looking at you compassionately with assurance that in case there is any possibility of you becoming weak in spiritual life, my instruction will protect you. Do not worry. And he also smiled because there is a competition between the grandfather and the grandson. Grandfather is trying to post him in the king's job, and the grandson is trying to escape that. That's why Brahma is smiling. Prabhupada explains that. Now, I wanted to also answer the question about, Kumaras refused to marry, but Priyavrat agreed to marry, isn't it? So let us see some examples from the scriptures where the guru is ordering and the disciple is not accepting. There are cases like that. And there are other cases where guru is ordering and the disciple accepted the order. For example, Arjuna in Mahabharata, we find he refused to fight in the beginning. Nayotseti Govinda Muktva Tushnim Babuvaha. It said, he put the bow down. And then he said, Nayotsya means I am not going to fight. Nayotsye. Iti Govinda. Uktva Tushnim. Tushnim Babuvaha means he became silent. But then he was crying tears also. But then Krishna gave him guidance by Bhagavad Gita. And then he picked up the bow and he fought. Correct, no? Then he surrendered to Krishna's order. Similarly, Lord Rama also, he surrendered to the order of his father because he wanted to uphold the duty, the promise given, despite having to do personal sacrifice. Yesterday he was told, you are going to be the king. Next day he is told, go to forest for 14 years. Because the duty was calling him, he was ready to make that personal sacrifice. Similarly, Nachiketas also, in Katha Upanishad, we read this pastime. His father was giving charity and this boy was constantly, asking questions to him. He was getting irritated. Father said, shh, keep quiet. I am giving charity. And son would ask, Papa, what are you going to give to this man? Are you going to give cow? Are you going to give clothes? And the father said, and the son asked the father, are you going to give me also in charity? Like that he asked. And the father said, keep quiet. If you keep asking this question, I'll hand you over to Yamaraj. Like that he said. Huh? And then immediately in the same queue of people coming for charity, two Yamadutas also joined with horns. They said now that he said he's going to give to Yama. In those days, if you spoke a word, immediately it will become true. Huh? Immediately Yamadutas joined and said, Sir, you said you're going to give your son to Yama, we have come. Huh? So now Nachiketas was ready to accept the challenge. His father had to hand over. So sense of duty and higher cause, because father has given a vachan. Prana bhi jaye, vachan na jaye, we say no. So the son was ready to go to Yama's abode. He said, okay, father, because you spoke that word, I want to align with your words. So he went. Similarly, in this way, you will see there are many examples. But the Shastras, they say that whenever you are going to follow something, it should be for either to make sacrifices or to follow the order of a superior, or because it is dharma. Therefore, one should do. Even if it is painful, one should do it. So now, I'll give you other examples where somebody denied that I will not accept. For example, the four Kumaras, when their father Brahma told them to marry and beget children, they refused. So Brahma became very angry. At that time, from his eyebrows, Rudra was born at that time. We hear that. So now when Brahma is the creator of the universe, he's the father of the four Kumaras, he's telling them to marry. So when they refused, why they refused, we should see that. Because they were already embarking on the path of renunciation. And they were already well situated in celibacy. They were pure-hearted. They had no inclination for marriage. Because if they marry, they will spoil the life of a girl. Imagine, for example, if a person who has already awakened renunciation fully, he has no material inclination at all. Forcibly, if parents get him married, and the girl will see that she is alone at home and this fellow is all the time in the temple, doing services, chanting, dancing, going on Sankirtan. And the girl complains to her parents that this fellow doesn't even look at me. He is completely satisfied. He is in his own ananda, in his world. Then the girl will ask her father, why did you give me in Kanyadan to such a boy? So one of the reasons not to marry is if one has no plans to beget children and raise a family, then one should not marry and spoil the life of a girl. So they thought that we are already renounced, we are celibates. And also we want to devote our life for a higher purpose. So that is one of the reasons, devotion to the spiritual goal. That's the main reason. They didn't feel the need for any procreation and household life at that time. And also, scriptures also sanction renunciation, correct, no? Like for example, according to Vedas, you go to your Gurukula, first 25 years, and then afterwards the brahmachari is divided into two. Some of them become Naishtika brahmacharis. Some become Upakurvana brahmacharis. So Naishtika brahmacharis remain celibate for life. Like Jananivas Prabhu, Pankajangari Prabhu, two brothers, they remain brahmacharis all through, isn't it? Now, the other category, Upakurvana brahmachari, are like Krishna, Sudama, Balaram. So they took training and then they enter household life. Correct, no? So both are allowed in the Vedic life. It's not that one cannot marry. One can marry or one doesn't want to marry, one need not marry. This is allowed. So they were thinking, when there are two options, our father is telling to take one option, we would like to take the other option. Like that they thought. Both are legitimate paths. They thought like that, based on the higher calling. And also, when they denied to their father, they did it very respectfully. This is very important. Whenever you have to say no, because the superior is saying, so with humility and reverence, they wanted to align with dharma. So they very politely expressed that. And Brahma also later on accepted. Brahma understood that if they embark on the path of renunciation, they will actually help the living beings to ultimately go back to Godhead. which is also the goal of Grihastha ashram also. Because dharma, artha, kama, finally moksha, and then you come to bhakti. Either you go in this way or you go in this way. My sons are directly aiming at the last goal. Huh? Let them go. Huh? Double promotion or triple promotion. Correct, no? It's triple, I think, isn't it? Brahmachari to Grihastha, Grihastha to Vanaprastha to Sanya. So they went from Brahmachari to Sannyasa, whatever. It's like that. So Brahma allowed after that. He accepted. Yeah. So it's based on, their svabhava. They saw their own svabhava and they thought that, we should not just blindly follow what we are told to follow. We should check according to my svabhava and dharma, what I am doing. They were, first of all, very sure about it. And then they respectfully disagreed. They followed their higher calling, isn't it? So one very important thing is the dharma is not like a stone. It is very flexible. There is a lower dharma, there is higher dharma. Because when you talk of lower, for example, a boy is working in army. 10 years they trained him as a soldier. Now he wants to go for the war. Mother is crying. Should he go for the war or should he stay with the mother? Huh? Yeah, he has to go for the war. He has to give up a smaller family for the larger family of his nation. Is it not true? Then there is a lower dharma and there is higher dharma. So which dharma you should follow? Higher dharma. Similarly, one wants to, one is fully convinced of the ultimate goal of life. One says that I want to give up a smaller family to accept the sky as my roof, accept all the 8 billion population of the earth to be my brothers and sisters. All the Krishna says, Aham bija pradapita. Krishna is my father. Vedas are my mother. All living beings are my relatives. So then such a person has developed that broad consciousness. It's called udaradhi, we call it. Ayam nija paro vetti gananam lagu chetasam udara charitanam tu vasudha eva kutumbakam. That verse says that, me tu is narrow-minded consciousness like a frog in the well. But real consciousness is broad consciousness. Lord is the Father. 14.4, Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita. What is that verse? Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtayas sambhavanti yaha tasam brahma mahat yonir aham bija pradaha pita. It says, so when you understand this very deeply, then you are renounced, you renounce the smaller frog in the well consciousness, then you are in Atlantic consciousness. You have a broader consciousness. So, keeping that higher dharma in mind, that means dharma is flexible. One should know how to apply the dharma very carefully. Yeah. And then we may also have a question, what about Dhruva? Dhruva even got a Vaishnava guru, like Narada. When Narada Muni initially gave him instruction to return home, he said, you are a small boy. Just return home and play with other children. Why are you so upset with your stepmother? Everything will be all right. Like that he said. But then Dhruva told him, sir, you are talking of very high realization, but my current level of realization, is not giving me the strength to, follow what you are talking. Because, for example, sometimes you cannot artificially forgive someone, correct, no? So he is telling that you are telling me to forgive my stepmother and then just go home and play and then forget it, but I cannot forget it from my mind. So the Dhruva expressed his state of mind to Narada. He said, I want to attain a kingdom greater than Brahma's. This intense ambition was driven by a personal pain and sense of unfulfilled justice, he says, which means my stepmother harshly treated me and that is injustice. And I want to prove to her that, I also can achieve something in life. He had that intense ambition. Today also many people ask, my relatives are thinking that I cannot go to America. I want to prove that I can go to America, somebody says. But these people actually don't take shelter of Vishnu. That's the problem. Their mind is only filled with going to America only. But they never chant the holy name. But Dhruva chanted the holy name. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, he chanted. So Narada actually was testing him. Because Narada thought, he's a 5-year-old boy. How can I teach him Ashtanga Yoga? Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, Asana, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, this. He said, at least you should be an adult, 15 or 20-year-old boy. Then you can practice this. You are too young to practice. But Dhruva said, no, please have faith in me. I am determined to follow what you say. You are teaching many others this thing. If you teach me also, I am promising you that I will follow your instructions. Then Narada conducted the initial test to check whether mm, he is ready for it. So he told him, you let go of your material desires and go home. See, there are two ways you can take in life. Hmm? Like one boy wanted to join full time as a brahmachari, but he had a desire to do MBA in IIM, the same simultaneously. So he asked me what I should do. I said, see, if you join the ashram now and you don't go for MBA, later on you'll be criticizing ISKCON that, I would have become an IIM MBA. Now, they made me brahmachari. I said, don't keep this desire. You better write your CAT exam and then crack it and then go into IIM and then become a MBA. And then if you still have this desire, you join. And if that is up to you. The choice should be made by whom? You. But in case you say that this is a material desire, it is useless desire, what am I going to do? Now I have so much more important things to do. Prabhupada says in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, every Indian has the important duty of studying the Bhagavatam and taking it out of India to all over the world. Whole world is our audience. 8 billion population. So the world is on fire. Everywhere there are wars, misunderstandings, quarrels and everything. So if this boy strongly feels that this higher purpose should be fulfilled, and I have this material desire, what he can do? If he increases the higher purpose more and more, he chants more, reads more, and then he intensifies the desire, then this lower material desire will get dissolved. That will be burnt away. Then he'll be extremely satisfied. So, when I was in IIT, uh, I did my MTech, and then my guide, without even asking me, he had talked to one of the universities abroad, and then he had arranged a PhD for me, which he said 4 years PhD and 4 years job is assured for you. He said $50,000. So you go to US, you go to Orlando, and then you study in University of Orlando, Central Florida, and then everything he gave. So he put it on my table. I said, sir, I never thought you will sign up for me. So he said, which IIT boy will say, I don't want to go to America? I was convinced that everybody wants to go. So I signed up. I said, but I haven't signed. So I have to think about it. So then I had no plan to go abroad because I had a desire to join full time and dedicate my life, do job for 3-4 years and dedicate my life. So then I asked my Shiksha Guru, should I go abroad and earn a lot of money and give you for preaching? I think you need a lot of money for preaching. So he said, between giving money and giving oneself, which is superior? Giving oneself. If you have the desire to give your heart to Krishna and engage as a full-time preacher, fully, that is superior to giving money. Money anybody will give. So many people will give. You ask yourself, what do you want to do? I said, I thought you need money. If you want preachers, I am right now ready. He said, not ready. First you work for 3-4 years, earn money, and then become very stable in your mind. I was at that time younger. So he said, at the age of 25, you are more mature. If you still have the desire to join, you can join. So I stayed in India. I didn't go. I worked for 3-4 years and then at 25 I joined after that. Now I'm looking back, reflecting, I'm so blessed and fortunate because sometimes when the material desires are lurking in our mind, you don't know which direction to take. You can get misled in your life. So, material desire can be burnt away or material desire has to be exercised in a regulated way to later on transcend it. Later on, you can go beyond it. So, Dhruva Maharaj had a material desire to become a king of the whole world. Is it not true? Not only the king, he wanted a kingdom better than Brahma also. He wanted a kingdom, Dhruva Loka, which is bigger and better than Brahma's Loka also. But when he saw Lord Vishnu, that desire got dissolved. So Narada initially tested him. And then Dhruva responded with his inability to renounce his goal. That's the whole point. He didn't say, I won't follow your instruction. What he said? I am unable to renounce this goal from my mind. So, therefore, My Guru Maharaj once said, don't tell anyone not to marry, don't tell anyone to marry. I was wondering, what is this? Don't tell them to marry, don't tell them not to marry. That means if you tell them not to marry, means you're telling them to be brahmachari. Correct? No? If you tell them to marry, you're telling them to be grihastha. So then I said, then what I should tell? You give them Krishna consciousness, he said. Huh? And they should decide what they want to do. Whatever your decision you take, you should take, you should take responsibility. You should take responsibility. Please repeat, whatever decision you take, that's most important. You take to brahmachari life, be responsible brahmachari. You take to grihastha life, be responsible to your wife and children, family, protect them. Whatever your decision you take, you should be responsible. Irresponsible brahmachari, irresponsible grihastha are not wanted. They're useless. They are trouble creators. You should take responsibility. So Dhruva took responsibility. He said, my dear sir, I am unable to renounce my goal at this stage of my spiritual evolution. Please give me an honest path by which I can fulfill my desire, my ambition. He said, okay, Dhruva, you do this chanting, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and you worship the deity of Krishna, go to Madhuban. If you're ready to pay the price and follow the process, very good. I see that you are very deeply sincere. So Narada didn't see it as a rebellion. See, the very fact Narada accepted him as his disciple shows that he has approved what Dhruva did. Did Dhruva act against Narada? No, he got approval. Because otherwise, how did he give mantra to him? He gave mantra, he gave him procedure, and then he fulfilled all those conditions and he attained perfection. Yeah. So because Narada saw the unshakable determination of Dhruva, that's the whole point. Yeah. And he performed very intense austerity and attained a great devotion to Lord Vishnu. So much so, imagine you have a barrel full of hay, yellowish hay. You take one matchstick and put inside. What will happen? That's what happened to Dhruva. The fire is like Vishnu. So when he took Vishnu into his heart, all the material desires got completely burnt away. Yeah. So from Dhruva we learn how determination can be a great virtue. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeh kurunandana. He surrendered with a purpose and then he attained the goal. So, and he got both actually. Vishnu granted him the Dhruvaloka also. And at the same time, he granted him Shuddha Bhakti also, both. Isn't it? So, one another example we will take. You all know the example of Bhishma. He was told by his guru Parashuram to marry Amba, correct? No? Now, what is the background pastime in Mahabharata? See, Bhishma, went and got the hand of Amba Ambalika, correct? No? When he brought them, Amba and Ambalika were snatched and brought by Bhishma, not for himself. He wanted to give them as wives to whom? Vandu, correct? No? He didn't want to enjoy. But then they fell in love with him. They wanted to marry him. But he told, no. I brought you not for me. I am already a brahmachari, he said. But then they went and complained. Amba went and complained to, when the Swayamvara, we were brought by him and he is not marrying us. So when the complaint went to Parashuram, and Parashuram immediately called Bhishma and said, hey, you should marry now. That's what they are requesting. So he cited the celibacy as a reason. I am a brahmachari, I can't marry. And because I have taken a Bhishma Vrata, solemn vow, I am not interested in this. If I have to keep my integrity, if I have to follow dharma, I should remain brahmachari, he said. But then our Parashuram was still insisting. And then Guru said, okay, let us have a battle now. If you win, then you can remain celibate. If I win, because it's Kshatriya, you have to fight. If I win, then you have to marry. Correct, no? So again, he was respectfully disagreeing, like I told you earlier also. He had humility and reverence. He bowed down to Guru and told him that I cannot marry, I have taken a vow. And then eventually, when the war, he fought so valiantly, and then Parashuram agreed. He also approved. Yeah. And the matter was put to rest after that. Correct, no? So from Bhishma, what do we learn? See, Guru's orders are not blind commands. One example I'll tell you. In 4.34, Prabhupada says, blind following and absurd inquiry both are condemned. Prabhupada writes like that. Like when Guru says to Bhishma, hey, see, she is crying. She want to marry only you, so you should marry. So Guru wants to test also whether he is really keen to marry or not. And then he was not ready to marry. Then the Guru told her that, you see, he is not ready to marry, but let us keep one competition. In the competition, if he wins, then let him continue what he wants to do. Isn't it? So he had unflinching commitment, Bhishma. Especially, he was a man of integrity. He wanted to follow the dharma that he promised. Because he had promised, because if he marries, then he will have children. And then the promise that he gave to Satyavati's father will not be fulfilled, isn't it? So in this way, with a higher perspective of dharma, he put dharma over, personal, any other preferences. Yeah. So he put, it's like a bhakti for the dharma. Uh, he made it as a higher thing, isn't it? Now, higher than this example is Bali Maharaj not following the order of Shukracharya. Because Shukracharya saw that the effulgent Brahmana boy who has come, this boy is not ordinary boy. Who is he? He said, this is Sakshat Vishnu. And I don't know what is his intention. How Vishnu will act, nobody can predict. He's all knowing, supreme. Maybe he has come to take away the property of the demigods from you. So better you deny him. And then he said, you may say that you have given a word to him. How to take back the word? He said, you have not yet told Om. So yes, you have not told him. And also, in marriages and in businesses where there is going to be life loss or money loss or property loss and all, people do tell lies. He was quoting some Purana, something he said, in this situation, to save yourself, you can speak some lies. But then, Bali Maharaj silently sat and contemplated for a few moments, it is said. He didn't immediately act. Then he thought, why my Guruji is saying like this? Then he understood my Guruji has some ulterior motive. What was his ulterior motive? He thought if this fellow loses all his property, I will not get my monthly salary. That was his worry. Then he refused to follow that kind of order. He said, ultimately, whatever I possess belongs to Vishnu. So it should be given back to Vishnu if Vishnu is coming. So he made the Bhagavata Dharma over worldly Dharma or loyalty to Guru. People may say that, oh, how can you give up your loyalty to Guru? But then Guru is teaching a worldly value. So he went for a Bhagavata Dharma value. Like that, understanding what is right. He immediately thought of his grandfather. Who is he? Who is his grandfather? Prahlad Maharaj. He thought of him. Yeah. Because of his devotion to Supreme Lord. He became later on Mahajan. That result, Phalena Parchete. Lord made him Mahajan. He made him in next Indra also. So he had the commitment to the truth with full clarity. That's very amazing in that situation. It's really a test that Lord conducted for his devotion. The ultimate test, acid test, to check whether Bali is doing Atma Nivedana. Later on, Shukracharya also glorified. Shukracharya also glorified Bali, saying that because he took shelter of Sankirtanam, there is one verse which says, Mantratas tantratas chidram deshakalargavastutah sakalam karo dinishchidram anusankirtanam tava, he says that in this world, in Vedic yajnas, there can be some truti, some kind of imperfection can come in pronunciation or anything like that. But when somebody is chanting Hare Krishna, there cannot be any hole in that. All holes are covered. So Bali acted appropriately by surrendering to you, and therefore he has attained a very high position in one of the 12 Mahajans. In this way, Guru also later on glorified him. So he understood supreme authority is Bhagavan over all. He understood that. Yeah. So he had the courage to do that, you see. Then, yeah. So I gave all these examples because we need to know each of these personalities. If you see Bhishma and Parashuram, example I told them, they respectfully declined Guru's instruction, but for following dharma, correct, no? And Dhruva, another example, Dhruva was finding it difficult to follow. Like, for example, if your senior devotee tells you, you are so lazy, so you should get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and chant 16 extra rounds. So what you may say? What you may say? I'll tell you. Every day you also have a job. You are already chanting 16 rounds along with devotees. So you may say, Prabhu, 2 o'clock is too early. By the time I come from company, take prasad and sleep, it becomes 10 o'clock for me. At least I need 6 hours of sleep. Otherwise, my whole day I'll be drowsy. So if you are clarifying, instead of 2, can I get up at 30? I know that I'm getting late for the Mangalarti nowadays, always coming 10 minutes late. But give me some time. I will now start coming on time. I'll get up at 3:30 and get ready by 4. And Temple Hall, I'll sit at 4 and chant my extra rounds or whatever. So in that way, clarifying our inability to follow the instruction is not considered as insubordination or lack of surrender. That's what Dhruva did with Narada. Narada also saw that Dhruva is ready to, follow the instructions that he will give him, other instructions to follow Ashtanga Yoga. So Dhruva Maharaj wanted to fulfill the material desire, therefore he took one route. And Bali Maharaj transcended the material desires entirely and surrendered to Lord. So he disregarded the false instruction given by Shukracharya. Correct. And the 4 Kumaras and Brahma. So if you see Bali and Kumaras, both these people are not ordinary because they prioritized devotion to spiritual truth over the father's orders. Both are very exalted personalities. Kumaras also for a spiritual purpose. Bali also for a spiritual purpose. And Dhruva for a material purpose in the beginning because he had some ambition. But for that he was ready to perform the austerities, penances as guided by Narada, express his inability, difficulty. Like for example, one devotee was preaching to one one wealthy man and said, you have to distribute 500 Bhagavad Gitas. So you come with me. Every evening you come. It's marathon time now. Daily let us go and distribute. He said, but I have my business. I have my shop. Our business is mainly in the evening. How can I come? But he said, oh, you have been coming for last 5-6 years. How can you grow in your spiritual life? Then the man said, okay, take this donation for 500 Bhagavad Gitas. Are you happy? Then the preacher said, okay, now you are relieved now. So at least you are giving donation. Because when you give donation, you get little purification. When you go and distribute the Gita yourself, you get more purification. But right now he is ready for more purification or little purification. Yes. So that way he expressed it. And then every year he started giving for 500 Gitas, 800 Gitas like that. Then he became purified to such a degree, he gave his shop to his son. Son, beta Urana. Then he started going on Sankirtan after that. So sometimes we are ready for this much purification, not ready for this much. That's what Dhruva was in that situation. Like this. So in this way, we can see the situation of Priyavrat. Priyavrat had a kshatrata. Kshatra means Kshatriya tendency. He was capable of ruling the world. There is one verse which says that Brahma detected that. Great acharyas like Brahma, they can detect the spark and they can fan the spark. Like, George Harrison came to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, all your devotees are saying they are all full-time devotees. Would you like me to shave up and join you? He asked. Prabhupada said, no. You are a very big, Beatles group in those days was so popular. In the airport, when the Beatles group would land, people would just break all barriers and rush. Thousands of people would surround the plane inside the airport. Nobody, airport authorities couldn't do anything. When George Harrison would come down the steps, so many people would want autograph and so many would garland. The towel that he used and wiped his body and threw, somebody took that and cut it into this much pieces. The one piece was like 1,000 pounds. They were selling. It became very valuable. Very popular man. Prabhupada said, you are very popular. I will give you some clue on how to write songs about Krishna. So Prabhupada only gave him the clue for the famous song, What is that song? Sweet Lord. Huh? Like that, he got many clues Prabhupada gave him, and he wrote many songs, feeling of separation from Krishna. Huh? So many people, the whole world was crying when they heard those songs. So Prabhupada was very happy. Prabhupada said that he has some talent, and the talent should be dovetailed in Krishna's service. Joshayat sarva karmani, Krishna says. Vidwan yukta samacharan. A Vidwan means intelligent guru dovetails the talent of the disciple in Lord's service. But because George Harrison was also having a lot of money and big business circles he would associate, he could not follow all the four regulative principles. He will have to sometimes break. So Prabhupada was not ready to initiate him. But somehow some disciples of Prabhupada pushed him and said, go and ask Swamiji for initiation. You have come so far. Then one day he asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, many devotees are saying that I should get initiated. Prabhupada said, see, you are already called as George Hari's son. Hari's son means you are Hari's son. So you have nothing to worry. Lord Hari's mercy is already on you, Prabhupada told him. So although he was not initiated, although he didn't join full time, still Prabhupada engaged him very nicely in services which he felt he would be able to do the best. He gave some 20,000 pounds for printing Krishna book also. Correct, no? He gave the whole nugget manor, which now is called as Bhaktivedanta manor. He gifted it to Prabhupada. So many nice things he did. So in this way, you can see that, surrender is not like some kind of stereotyped thing. Surrender can be, that's why Dharma is also very Gouda, very deep. And one should know what is lower Dharma, what is higher Dharma, what is highest Dharma. So Bhagavata Dharma is the highest Dharma. So when we discuss various pastimes like this in the light of the current pastime of Priyavrata, then we can see from various angles how to act in our own lives. When we are put in a situation, given a situation, how to act. And most important thing is, we should not uh, uh, show a lack of subordination to our superiors. Quoting these examples of Bhishma or Dhruva or four Kumaras. Like one boy was telling, Prabhuji, Kumaras refused to marry. You are telling me to get married. So I am also like Kumaras. I am not going to marry. I want to join full time. Then I told him, see, you say you want to join full time. The very fact you are told to marry is because already you have a girlfriend. Kumaras never had a girlfriend. Kumaras were pure hearted, and therefore they could say no. You want to have a friend, and then you still want to say you want to join full time. What is it? It doesn't make any sense. You are simply nonsense. I said, so what is being told to you is you marry the same person whom you are with now and get settled peacefully. Be a good grihastha. Bring that person also to Krishna consciousness. Both of you be Krishna conscious. So in this way, not accepting the instruction should not be done capriciously or independently or foolishly. One shouldn't do it. One has to be very, very thoughtful. Each of these personalities are all very exalted who did that. And in this given pastime now, Priyavrata, he obliged to Brahma's instruction because naturally he must have consulted Narada also. All the three are Mahajans, Brahma, Narada and Swayambhuva Manu. Three Mahajans are saying, two Mahajans are saying him to take responsibility. One Mahajan is saying, renounce. So imagine if there is an equivocal instruction between two authorities, what would you do? Later on, Narada also said, you can marry now. Because Brahma has come to say this, you take the rule of the world. Now all the three Mahajans are aligned. So he didn't have to worry. He took the responsibility. After marrying Barhishmati, she was extremely beautiful. When he married her, he became little allured by her. And when he begot the son Agnidhara, so at that time, Priyavrata had become little bewildered and he says that I am like a play toy in the hands of a woman. I am like a lusty rogue and all that he condemns. But then because he followed Brahma's order, quickly he gave to the realization. And he got out of the entanglement and became a pure devotee and went back to Godhead. This is another thing. When pure devotees give a regulated program for a disciple who has still some inclination for sense gratification, because of following Guru faithfully, they can come out of that entanglement very easily. That's another proof also. Srila Prabhupada ki Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Thank you very much.